Hello again and welcome to Pearl Magazine. Tonight we have a one-on-one with Hong Kong and Macau French Consul General Christile Drulhe, who was appointed here in 2022. Previously, she was Deputy Diplomatic Advisor to the Prime Minister, as well as political French counselor at the French Embassy in Beijing. I visited her in her residence, where she talked about France's long history with Hong Kong, which dates back to the 19th century. Amazing view here.
Yes, we're very happy to be able to show the postcard of Hong Kong to our guests and French visitors.
How far back does France's relationship with Hong Kong go?
Well, my very first predecessor was posted here in 1852. So already in the 19th century, we started to develop relationship with Hong Kong. It was mainly diplomats, but also missionaries, who played an important role in developing hospitals, orphanages here, but also business people.
I feel like you're surrounded by some of France's history in Hong Kong right where you are.
Here on my left-hand side, you can see that on this red building was actually the very first French residence.
What about the offices? Were they nearby as well?
The French consulate was here, also on the premises of GRC.
Where does the history of French and Hong Kong relationship in science and medicine date back to?
Well, actually, Alexandre Yersin was the very first, most famous French scientist to come to Hong Kong, and he played a major role because it was the time of the plague, and he was the one to discover the bacillus of the plague.
At what point in the history of this relationship did it start to include more trade and business between France and Hong Kong?
Well, we have, big French companies who have been here in Hong Kong for many decades. They have contributed to, the building of major infrastructures like, the Hong Kong-Zhuhai, Macau Bridge, all the tunnels. And yes, pharmaceutical industries are also very strong in France, and for a city like Hong Kong, they're also very much present here.
Hong Kong and France's relationship goes back for over a century now. How important is this relationship to France?
We're quite happy that we've had actually quite an important role for Hong Kong. For example, it's a Frenchman who discovered the Bohemia flower, which is now the symbol of Hong Kong. French people have always loved the vibrancy and the entrepreneurial spirit in Hong Kong. So that's why they're so numerous here.
What is Hong Kong's role, would you say, in France's relationship to China?
Our two leaders are very committed to giving a new momentum to the relationship between our two countries. And of course, Hong Kong has a role to play, not only in the business sector, but also in the cultural field.
You're right, because Hong Kong wants to stay a cultural hub, and I suppose, is that what makes it stand out from the rest of the Greater Bay Area cities?
French culture is really, I think, an important aspect which can contribute to the vibrancy of Hong Kong as a cultural capital, and it certainly can attract more visitors. I think French people are happy to develop original cultural projects with Hong Kong artists. This is part of our effort to also promote cross-fertilization between cultures and contribute also to Hong Kong's position as an East-West hub.
There are so many French Michelin-starred chefs based in Hong Kong. Do you think that this has, in a way, contributed to actually the Hong Kong culture?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I think we are very happy that our chefs, we have something like 15 Michelin star chefs here in Hong Kong and something like 200 French restaurants. they can contribute to the reputation of Hong Kong as a capital for gastronomy and attract visitors also to the local restaurants. There's a lot going on in terms of cooperation projects in arts and culture. And for example, last month we had 4 of our most renowned museums in Paris who came to Hong Kong for the International Cultural Summit to sign cooperation agreements with 2 of the West K museums.
The French community actually is involved in so many different industries in Hong Kong. Why do you think France's reach in the Hong Kong community and in the various industries is so wide?
Of course, in finance and trade, but also in the food and beverage sector, as our gastronomy, as you know, is very much appreciated here, but also in the luxury sector, in the construction sector, energy, plus our education exchanges are also very much developed. We have something like 200 cooperation agreements between our universities, so that means that a lot of young people, students, researchers would also come to Hong Kong.
Is it still seen as a gateway to and from China?
It can still, indeed be considered by our businesses as a gateway to China. And well, it's no surprise that we have something like 800 companies doing business with Hong Kong, and half of them have offices here. And actually, France is the 4th largest employer in Hong Kong and the first one from the European Union.
Does France still see Hong Kong as a hub for business and finance for this region?
Oh, definitely, yes. I think a lot of these, 400 companies which have offices here have actually the regional headquarters here.
Hong Kong wants to be a startup hub and a tech hub for this region. And there have been a number of French startups in the past. Do you see this number growing, and what kinds of startups would you expect to see setting up here at this point?
Here in Hong Kong, we have what we call La French Tech, which is a network of French startups between Hong Kong and Shenzhen. And today we have 120 startups participating in this community that we contribute to structure.
Do you also have any programs with the institutes, the education institutes here in Hong Kong?
We have something like 200 cooperation agreements between our universities and vocational schools across a whole range of sectors. And this is for us essential if we want to breed and train the next generation of professionals who do business and contribute to cultural exchanges between France and Hong Kong.
What are some of the expertise that you think France could provide for Hong Kong?
France is a digital republic, so of course I think there is really a potential to develop the exchanges in this field. Hong Kong is obviously a financial hub, and France is actually very much acknowledged also in the green finance sector. And we are actually quite proud that a French professor could launch the first master's degree in green finance at KUST a few years ago, which is quite successful. France is a leader in terms of transport, but also construction, circular economy, all these key areas for the development of Hong Kong and the GBA today.
This is France's year to host the Olympics. Can you tell me a little bit about what we can expect from the Olympics in Paris?
They will be iconic in the sense that, for the first time in the history of the Olympic Games, they will not only take place on one site, but on something like 41 Olympic sites and 20 Paralympic sites. These games will be also the greenest in the history of the games. We will have managed to cut the carbon footprint of these Olympic Games by half. We've used, the best solutions for air conditioning, for energy consumption, and these are all, solutions that we are also happy to share in Hong Kong. For the first time, we will achieve total parity for this game. So we will have as many women athletes as men athletes. So about 10,000 athletes for these games in Paris.
When we come back, finding success and satisfaction on higher ground. Stay with us. Welcome back to Pearl Magazine. Hong Kong is a city of varied terrain, highs and lows with mountains and skyscrapers, almost 8,000 of the latter at last count. For those who can stomach the heights, there are jobs to be had that require scaling the terrain, both natural and man-made. Their way of life offers not just an income, but also a sense of peace above the hustle and bustle of the city.
I walked here before. When I climbed up the tree, I could see the sea and Tsing Ma Bridge. It impressed me deeply.
35-year-old Jason Ma has liked being close to nature since he was a teenager. When he was in secondary school, he often went hiking and camping. After graduation, he worked as an adventure coach while taking courses in dendrology, the study of trees, and arboriculture, the management of plants and trees. He then became a professional tree climber when he was 21. Jason usually needs to climb trees that are over 10 or even 20 meters high to check and trim branches.
I enjoy the process of climbing trees, not just the height. I enjoy the scenery from the trees. Unlike others, I feel very comfortable and free, and very close to the trees.
In the past 10 years, the government has planted about 4 million trees in the city and has also allocated $200 million since 2020 to establish the Urban Forestry Support Fund to cultivate local arborist talents. Jason believes that urban greening can provide citizens with fresh air and a comfortable living environment.
Many people think that trees are not necessary. The trees drop fruits and make the ground dirty, and they attract too many birds, and they find the chirping sounds in the morning disturbing. So people ask if we can trim more branches and leaves. But trimming them for these reasons only makes me feel that the tree and myself are both struggling to survive in this place.
Jason loves tree climbing. He has participated in 5 to 6 tree climbing championships every year since 2014 and in 40 to 50 tree climbing events. Whenever he has time, he will meet up with friends to practice with them.
On the ground, we practice basic movements, or what we call branch moves. We have a homemade bell for a station. It's made out of a tin can. We can go up and knock it to complete the station, simulating the situation during the races.
Wow, nice. Okay.
Tree climbing is unlike other sports that can be practiced anytime. Tree climbers find it hard to look for venues to practice.
During the competition, we asked other experienced candidates how they practice, and many said that they had trees in the garden at home where they could practice. However, we cannot randomly climb trees because many departments govern their own trees, and many procedures are required before we can climb them. We have to find private venues such as holiday camps.
Track form。咁每一次比賽都會用到佢嘅，確保我自己係預備晒所有嘢。
Today, Jason is going to Malaysia to participate in the 2024 Asia Pacific Tree Climbing Championships. In addition to the necessary equipment, including his safety belt, there is also the blessing of his wife.
This safety belt has many personalized settings that give me a sense of security. It helped me win the 2023 championship in Hong Kong. So I think it is a good friend. As for this doll, Yanni put it here. It's a peace charm, which makes me feel that she is with me and supporting me in the competition.
32 kg。我而家會出發去機場，咁我哋就搭11:55嘅機啦。
Jason is accompanied by 3 other tree climbers this time. They all look forward to competing with the other participants in large-scale competitions.
I finished 9th out of 42 last year, which is a good ranking in the Asia Pacific Championships. I also want to be a finalist. There are 5 finalists, and they usually include big countries such as Australia and New Zealand.
Working at high altitudes requires overcoming the fear of heights. 27-year-old Chun Yip was once confused about his future after graduating from secondary school. At the time, he had a relative who worked in the scaffolding industry. The salary was very attractive, with a daily pay of about $800. So he decided to join too.
The first time I was so scared that my feet were shaking. I looked down. I remember it was around the 24th. Then I looked down and saw nothing, and I became scared. I couldn't move even when I was holding the rope. I was afraid of losing my balance and falling. Even if I had security measures, still the idea occurred to me. What if the rope broke while I was working?
Building scaffolding is a daily wage-earning job, so no work means no income. Chun Yip wants to save more money while he can still work, and therefore he has to overcome his fear of heights. The highest he's worked was the 50th floor. He says that every time he works, he reminds himself that safety comes first.
Having the opportunity to do this job and make money is better than doing nothing at home. When you go out to work, you have to adapt to the working environment. If I can't adapt as soon as possible, I won't be able to continue this job. The most scary experience was when a piece of bamboo got stuck in a certain position, and I wanted to pull it out anxiously. I staggered and lost my balance. I was definitely scared, and I also learned to act more cautious and safely.
When working outside the high wall, Chun Yip has to keep calm at all times, but he also enjoys the tranquility in these high places.
Working at high altitude makes me feel that it is a relatively peaceful space. If you look at the views from the 20th or 30th floor, it isn't blocked by other buildings. It is beautiful. When you raise your head, don't look down. You can feel that the world is so big.
About half a year ago, Chun Yip turned his work into a hobby. Whenever he had spare time, he would go bouldering to relax.
一開頭係因為打機，咁嗰啲角色主角有攀石嘅呢一啲。
It started because I played video games. Those characters have bouldering scenes. They can climb and fly around, which I thought was cool. The most interesting part is that it's not just about physical strength. You can see clearly it has certain elements or key actions that it requires you to do, like solving a puzzle. If you successfully solve it, you will feel a sense of accomplishment.
During the past 5 years, bouldering has become a way for Chun Yip to relieve his stress. During COVID, his livelihood was affected. At the same time, he was tricked out of money and trust by his good friends, which made him depressed.
即係曾經有啲朋友咧，就以為係
I once had some friends who I thought were good brothers.
咁嗰次之後咧，我就對於人
After that, I had no confidence in making new friends.
交際咧就好冇信心。佢留低咗一個
It left a scar.
痕咯，一條疤咯。
嚟，
喂，拍緊邊條線啊？
喂，呢條啊，幫我呢條啊。
At the beginning of this year, Ka Wing, who also loves bouldering, took the initiative to talk to Chun Yip because he always comes alone. He has witnessed many moments when Chun Yip suffered repeated defeats.
呢個係 start 咁樣。
He was climbing in the morning and the afternoon. He has been climbing for so long and still trying. I think this person is very persevering. He has tried some routes many times.
跟住我就覺得，哇！呢個人都好有毅力喎，咁樣好多時候咧，有啲線咧。
I feel that falling is inevitable. There will always be some setbacks and failures in life. You just have to try again.
即係失敗咗，咁咪再嚟過咯，再試過咯。
Bouldering requires one to hold on tightly and stand firmly. They also need to have the courage to face falling from high places. But even if they fall, it does not mean failure. As long as they climb up again, they can reach new heights.
因為以前真係會好。
In the past, I had no goals, no direction, and no motivation to me to talk to other people.
其他人接觸去傾偈嘅一個。
It was good to be with people who share the same interests. Now I feel quite happy.
好開心嘅事啦！而家個感覺係幾。
I endured these fallings because I wanted to succeed.
承受去呢啲跌嘅過程，所以而家。
So falling is not a problem.
最終
Eventually, I will learn to make.
學識嗰樣嘢咯。
That's our show for this week. Join us on Pearl Magazine, same time next week. Bye for now.